Alright, what's going on YouTube? It's O'Neil from Tapped In with O'Neil, and as you guys can see, we hopping straight into it today. Yeah, right now the market is closed, so it's currently the weekend. The only thing trading right now is crypto. Crypto is having a bit of a rally. It's been another red week, but another $1,000 that we're gonna be investing this week. Um, yeah, it's been 2 weeks that we've been down. So like I said, and I've been calling this out. I'm expecting a nice pump up this week. This week we do have a lot of things coming out. Last week we had CPI came out, and CPI came out slightly better than expected. At I think with 3% inflation. I think they was projecting about 3.1% inflation, so it was around the projections that the market was expecting. Um, so I don't know. It's giving more indicators that we're gonna get a 25 basis point cut this coming Wednesday. So definitely gonna be looking forward to that. But man, and I tell you, it's been a crazy week. You guys can see, I'm getting caution for a margin call right now. You guys see that little caution sign? I got a little caution of a margin call. That's really my own fault, and the reason being is because I went ahead and I dropped this in the Discord. I went ahead and started buying gold to hedge against the downside in case we do enter a recession. I want to make sure my portfolio is protected, but you guys know me. When I invest into assets, I like to do leverage. So instead of investing in the regular gold ETF that I should have been investing, I went into the leverage, and I went ahead and purchased uh, gold, or the leverage ETF, which is a gold mining ETF. I went and purchased it right before gold sold off this week. So I'll show you guys real quick nugget. I mentioned this probably about 2 weeks ago. I'm down about $800 and it's leverage. So I put about $4,000 into it, and it just dropped this week. So it was like gold was trading at all-time highs, and then all of a sudden it just dropped. Let me change this to, can I change it to candlesticks? No, I think you could change the candlesticks on this, but yeah, I think was my average cost at, it's 163. So yeah, I had bought around, where did I buy? I bought around here, and then right when I bought, everything just sold off. So hopefully it can have a rally this week. Hopefully. And if you guys do want to hedge against your down risk and you don't want to go too leverage, I would say go into something like GDX, which is another ETF that tracks gold miners, basically gold. This is a lot less riskier. I mentioned this in the Discord for you guys, but I'm only down almost $80, and it has a 25% margin rate ratio. Let me see what that is on Nugget. The margin ratio, I know it's pretty high on Nugget, so it's at 50%. So that's why it's cautioning me that I'm near a margin call. But we're gonna handle it. We're gonna make sure we good this week. Let's check how we doing on the week. Down about 1,500. That's not too bad. I think the previous week we was down like nearly 15,000 or something like that. So we got a lot of upside potential. Definitely a lot of upside potential. And on Monday, the market pump faked. We was up 3,600, back at that $72,000 range, and then it just sold off again for some reason. We went down as low as 6,200. Sorry. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. A cash, zero. Margin total, we did increase that, so it's at $27,144.80. Margin users at $22,146.41. We did purchase some event contracts. I'll speak on this in a separate video. I'll make a separate video speaking on event contracts. I definitely would not recommend doing event contracts for you guys' portfolio. Trust me when I say do not do it. But then I just got my futures buying power at $1,000. So, and then you guys see my margin buffer is low right now. It's at 1,800. So we're gonna get that up with this $1,000 deposit, because that's really low. But I'm pretty sure this week is gonna be all right. And even if this week isn't all right, we are, hedging against our downside by purchasing assets like gold. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this deposit and clear that off the screen. Get that out the way. Get this deposit. Choose what the heck? Choose amount. Why is it saying 2,800? Why y'all trying to get me? Y'all trying to get me? From chase to individual. Why is it doing all that? It's usually set up. Okay. Individual. Okay. Continue with standard. Alright. Loading. Alright. Deposit initiate. Let's see what the account is sitting at now. Alright, we had $67,895.35. Okay, our buying power went up to $8,000. Our margin total went up to $30,000, $30,144.80. Margin used went down to $21,146.41. And our margin buffer did increase, so we got a 6.88 buffer, which is a $28,875.97. Yeah, 6.88 buffer, which is not the best, but it will go up as the week goes on. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and switch over to the mobile version of the app and dive into the portfolio, see what's really happening in the portfolio this week, and things of that nature. So stay tapped in. All right, so as I said, we have $67,000 right now. We are no longer in margin watch or being cautioned for margin. We didn't make too many plays this week. We didn't make any option plays this week. The only thing we did with our option plays, I think I did roll one of my MSTU positions because it was set to expire on Friday, and MSTU still hasn't recovered yet, so I rolled it out to the following week, which was a good call on my part. I'll show you guys real quick what that is. I did take a small realized loss, which was $210. So yeah, I rolled this $4.5 call to further out the next week, and I honestly might have to do it again. I don't know. Earnings is coming out for MSTR this week, so it's a lot of things coming out. We got earnings for multiple different companies. We got a possible 25 basis point rate cut, and we still got this looming government shutdown. Like, this is like, I don't know. I'm honestly, with the government shutdown, okay, it is what it is. Keep it the way it is. I just want to stay away from the job reports because I have a strong feeling that the job reports is bad, and we might be signaling that we might be in a job recession. I don't know. For some reason, I got that feeling. Maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, that's why I started pouring into assets like gold. As I mentioned, as I said, crypto is having a nice rally today. Let's see what it did on the week. Not too good on the week, but Bitcoin did hit 114 today, if I'm not mistaken. It hit 114, which is a good sign for Monday. We'll see if crypto does rally again and go back to its all-time high of 124, 125, one of those two. My BITX debit spread is still doing pretty well. It's saying we're down $500, but if you can go to my simulate my returns, if it closes out, or if my expiration date comes and it's still at this same price, I'll be taking my max profit of $440. Definitely with crypto rallying this weekend, so I'm not even worried about that. My options are definitely gonna most likely flip green on Monday, because MicroStrategy is gonna move with Bitcoin. I'm just really heavily weighed into MicroStrategy or MSTU. So yeah, as I mentioned from before, what was it, last week? YieldMax is paying out weekly dividends. So before we hop into my MSTU position, I'll go ahead and cover the dividends. First one's gonna be Tesla. See how Tesla performed. We're still up $199. And speaking of these YieldMax funds, if I'm being honest, I'm thinking, and I'm most likely going to be getting out of these real soon, really soon. But let's just cover Tesla. So we got a $66 dividend payout from Tesla this week. We got 400 shares, which is 16 cents per share. Like I said, we got 400 shares with an average cost of $7.78. Tesla's been doing this thing, so I can't even be mad at that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking to get out of MSTY and ULTY because I don't think it. I've done a lot more research, and for my portfolio and what I'm doing, I don't necessarily need the income from these weekly payers. You know, I'm okay with just buying the assets and underlying and just growing my portfolio how I was, you know, before. But it did definitely help me out and um boost my earnings or my portfolio as a whole, because I had my portfolio was a lot smaller then. But like I said, once we cracked that 100K, we gotta be taking a lot more safer trades and being more strategic with when it comes to how we invest. So MSTY, our position, we is currently at $11. We got 400 shares, average cost of $20, and down $354.20. Let's see what the dividend payout was this week. We got $84.92, which is a breakdown of 21 cents per share. So that's MSTY. ULTY, it went below $4. That's scary. I definitely want to get out of this. So we still have 1,100 shares with an average cost of $6.17, down $1,237.89, and it did have a nice rally on Friday. It went up $77. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. Let's see what the payout was: $99.38, which is a breakdown of about 9 cents per share. And as I said, we hold about 1,100 shares. YMAX, it did have a little bit of a recovery, down $47, and I'm net positive on YMAX as a whole, with an average cost of $12.90. Our payout this week was $15.89, and we currently hold, like I said, 101 shares. Coney, we have 400 shares with an average cost of $8.15, and our total return, or we're down about $644.86. And let's see what the payout this week was. Payout was $37. 9 cents on 400 shares. That's not really a good payout from Coney. Hopefully Coney has a nice rally this week along with Coinbase and the rest of the crypto holdings. Hui, Hui's one of my better positions, still new. We got a dividend payout of $33.64. We're still up on this position at $32.43. Let's see the breakdown on that. So that's about 73 cents per share, and we currently hold 46 shares, and we do have drip on for Hui. So that's been working out. PLTW, as I mentioned, this is my weekly pair. Previous weekly pair from Round Hill. It's been performing extremely well all throughout the time. If you guys were to get into any of these weekly players or leverage ETFs that pay weekly, I would definitely recommend PLTW. And some of you guys asked me which ones to get into, and I've definitely been sending you guys to PLTW. Reason being, look at my position on PLTW. I currently hold 71 shares with an average cost of $45.45. Remember, the market has been down for the past 2 weeks, so we're close to our average cost, but in the previous 2 weeks we was trading at $50. So we peaked out at $50, and so our returns are a little bit down. But let's see what the weekly pair this week was. So we got paid $61.74 this week, and that was on 61 shares. So now we're currently at what was it? What did it say? 71 shares, so about 10 more shares. I think I've been dollar cost averaging more into it, in addition to the drip. Let's see what else we had, and that's it for the weekly payers. As I said, I mentioned GDX, a new position, nice gold mining ETF to hedge against the downside. If we were to enter a recession, you definitely want to make sure you have some gold in your portfolio, cash on hand, ready to buy the dip, And so I placed a 25 basis point bet or prediction Definitely would not recommend this, and I'll explain this in a separate video, but I don't have too much time today. But I definitely would recommend you guys staying away from the prediction markets. Not saying that I'm going to lose out on this, but it's just not worth it. The amount of money that you have to put up for the profit is just not worth it. And I'll break it down in a separate video. Let's go ahead and switch over to our traditional IRA. So our traditional IRA is sitting at $5,254.32. Had a nice rally on what was a Friday, so it went up a little bit. See what we was down about 0.5% on the week. Not too bad, not too bad for another red week. Tech L definitely had a part in that, rallying. It went up $6 in one day. Man, I told you guys about Tech L. I told you guys about Tech L. It's a leverage ETF that tracks all the tech sectors or tech stocks, and not all, but a decent bit of the tech stocks in the S&P 500. On ULTY, our position on ULTY in this traditional IRA is we have 855 shares. We do have drip on for this, which our breakdown this week. Well, we're down about $510, and our breakdown this week was 9 cents, as I mentioned before. And I'm pretty sure we're positive ROI, and even if we aren't positive ROI, I'm pretty sure ULTY is gonna have a little bit of a rally this coming week. And now into the Roth IRA. Remember, we're definitely gonna cross over the $4,000 mark this coming week for the Roth IRA. And remember, as I mentioned in last week's portfolio review, this is the model portfolio that I would recommend any beginner to start out doing. Just invest into 3 simple ETFs, automate the process. You don't have to necessarily pick the ETFs that I picked because it's geared for a specific reason. This is geared for and towards my retirement. SCHD and JetQ are going to be helping me help pay dividends, later on in my life. And SCHG is going to be, which is a smaller position in this portfolio, is going to be geared towards growth to help, the portfolio grow a bit. Let's see what we did on the week. We was actually up on the week, so up $56, 1.44% to be exact. On the month, we're up 2%, $79 to be exact. Small gains, but this is how you want to start. This is how you start the snowball effect. It starts to ramp up. You see, past 3 months, we can constantly be up. This portfolio is beating out my bigger portfolio, and this is what you guys want to understand. You don't have to copy the things that I do, copy the ways that I invest. Do the slow way of investing when you're initially starting out, just so you get a feel and understanding of what's going on. And that's how I definitely started. And year to date, we're up 11.56%, on pace to beat the S&P 500. And on a year, we are up 11.58%. Remember, we're only up that little amount. It's not even a little amount. We're on pace to beat the S&P 500, but had I had this portfolio structured all throughout the year, I probably would have been beating out the S&P 500. But yeah, I didn't have the chance to structure it completely. So, that's unfortunate, but we will definitely be doing a lot better, crossing over that $4,000 mark. So let's go ahead and jump into the overall portfolio, see what that's sitting at now. All right, it's loading up. I think it's going to show us the exact number. I don't think it's going to change. We're sitting at $77,199.07. I don't think that's changing, so because it just loaded up. So yeah, we're sitting at $77,199, and I do have a surprise coming for you guys. Got a couple surprise videos coming for you guys. But yeah, we're down, from after hitting it's crazy. We hit our 100K and then we immediately dropped down. But remember, as I said, every time our portfolio drops this much, that just means we're going to be due for a nice pump. That's just how my portfolio is. Oh, I didn't even cover MSTU. Let me show you guys my position on MSTU. So MSTU is sitting at $3.56. It's been bouncing off the support at $3.25. Yeah, so that's our support level, our new support level, or our new floor, $3.25. Yeah, that's as low as it went. So hopefully that is the floor, and we bounce off of that. Yeah, but this is what three weeks back to back that we had negative numbers, and we do have earnings coming out. I do expect a slight dip when the earnings do come out, but the following week, usually after earnings, a stock or ETF, or yeah, a stock usually recovers a week after earnings if their earnings aren't doing too well. So we're down at about $11,760 on this position. So as soon as MSTU flips green, or even soon as we go back to our average cost, we'll be up $11,000 or nearly $12,000. We currently hold 7,600 shares, and our option plays will also follow when MSTU does recover. We're currently down at about $1,800 on our option plays, and then I do have that option play set to expire in March of next year to make sure I capture more of the upside if I do end up selling cover calls to get rid of these shares and I don't get to capture all of that upside. So yeah, got a lot of different plays, a lot of things in place. You guys know the margin maintenance is 100% on MSTU. That's why my portfolio is a lot more constrained as far as buying power. But yeah, it's a lot of upside that I can benefit from when the market does flip green. On Friday, it did go up $912, and yeah, so we're definitely gonna be making some plays. I haven't been selling any cover calls because I wanted to make sure I don't get rid of my shares or have my shares called away at a price that I'm not willing to sell it at, and it wasn't really offering me any bid to ask price um, to sell at $5. So we're definitely gonna be waiting till MSTU probably gets to about 4.5 to $5, and then we're gonna be selling cover calls at a maximum profit or collecting those good juicy premiums. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I don't want to make this too long. Keep it short and sweet. But that's pretty much what's been going on in the portfolio. If you guys felt like this was useful and helpful anyway, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, turn on your post bell notification, leave a comment down below for feedback. I respond to all comments. Also, join up on the Discord. That is free to join. Talk to me, guys. A lot of you guys are joining the Discord. Not really saying too much. I mean, a lot of you guys are saying things, and don't be afraid to drop. Games. Some of you guys been dropping game in the Discords. One of you guys made a call out on SoFi. Nice call out. I looked into it. I might do a separate video on that. Looking into it. Just deep diving into that play that you called out. Shout out to you. And yeah, without further ado, it's Tap 1 0, and I'm signing out.